Hello, my pets, and welcome into The Dungeon, the podcast for submissives to learn, grow, be entertained, and ultimately find empowerment in their lifestyle of submission.
I'm your host, Kat Nash, the Music City Dominatrix.
And this week's episode is all about a session with a foot freak.
The session started like all my other scenes. The sub entered the play space, gift in hand. Well done. I immediately instructed him to strip. There's no sense in beating around the bush, is there? I mean, we're not here to exchange commentary on the weather now, are we? The mischievous twinkle in his eyes as he raised his eyebrows in surprise at my bluntness clued me in that, this is likely to be a pretty fun session. Some men just love bitchy, bossy women telling them what to do. These are typically type A men in the outside world, but behind closed doors, a harsh and demanding woman is what gets their blood really pumping. He stripped down to socks, which I allowed him to wear, whether because the temperature was below freezing outside or to maintain a modicum of dignity, I'm unsure. Men wearing nothing but socks looks pretty fucking silly to me. And to think that it's likely a result of a psychological soothing mechanism makes it almost sillier. Much like a child needing a comfort blanket, vulnerable grown men cling to their comfort socks. Anyway, here stood this near stranger within seconds of entering my play space, stripped down to his socks. I educated him on the protocol for our sessions. All sessions begin with you naked on your knees, giving fealty. And fealty entails some words of affirmation, typically, "Thank you for allowing me to serve you," while kissing designated areas on my shoes. For this particular session, I was wearing thigh-high, shiny black polyurethane boots. Super fucking high heels, too. These boots aren't made for walking, that's for damn sure. When I could really feel his appreciation for being allowed to serve, I strapped a thick leather collar around his neck. For the next period of time, nothing exists outside of this space and us. For the duration of our time together, you belong to me, and you live to serve however I see fit. He eagerly acquiesced. Since he was a foot fetishist, I knew I wanted to derive some pleasure out of a dynamic that I wasn't too familiar with. I'm not that big on people worshiping my feet. And I really wanted to have some fun with this as well. I have had men worship my feet, but never for an entire session, and never with someone whose entire fantasy revolved around worshiping feet. To assist with my pleasure from the session, I had him move a chair and stool to in front of a mirror. I figured that seeing him at my feet, below me, and on his knees might make it more enjoyable for me. And, it really did end up upping the hotness factor for me. We started with him worshiping my boots. He touched them, smelled them, and fondled these hard, plasticky, high boots. I allowed him to kiss my boots. He was quite the talker, so between kisses, I got to hear all about how wonderful my boots felt, how beautiful I am, and how he loved the smell. Subs aren't allowed actual sexual pleasure in my sessions, and this sneaky little sub kept roaming his hands to his little penis. I gave him a warning. He was not allowed to touch himself. And when he did it again, I had him bend over and take a paddling. Now, this submissive is not into paddling or spanking or impact of any sort, and he expressed that he really didn't enjoy it. Then I expressed that I didn't enjoy him touching himself in my presence, and if he was going to cross my boundaries, I was going to cross his, and he would have to bend over for a real punishment. He got the gist and the idea real quick. I allowed him to remove my boots, which entailed buckles, straps, and zippers. He unzipped them to reveal silky black thigh-high stockings with a red sole and a red seam on the back. Super fucking sexy, if I do say so myself. And he practically orgasmed from the mere sight of them. I put clamps on his nipples, so he experienced a bit of pain as I allowed him to sniff and kiss my stockinged feet. Now, I don't typically have stinky feet, and for foot fetishists, this is really unfortunate because the stink is half the appeal for most of them. To have a naughty little foot slave on his knees at your feet, touching, sniffing, and having your sweaty feet smeared all over him, it's simply their place in life. They live for sweaty, smelly feet. And alas, I don't have particularly smelly feet. I actually tried to prepare for this session with my dirty little stinky feet slave by wearing the same socks every day for 4 days. I'm almost embarrassed to admit that. It's crazy, right? Well, these socks had no smell at all after the 4 days, so I didn't even end up wearing them. Honestly, I was a bit grossed out by the thought of wearing them again, despite their lack of stink. But apparently the stockings and boot combo worked their magic because this sub stuck his nose right between my toes and sucked every air particle from around my feet up his nostrils, and he loved it. Sniffing my feet with his nipples clamped, he was in ecstasy. After a period of time on my stockinged feet, I allowed him to remove the thigh-high pantyhose. I wanted to make sure he wasn't tempted to touch himself again, so I got out the chainmail chastity cage. It's from Locked in Lust. Check it out. It looks super cool. It's not as easy to put on, but it looks really cool, and when a sub starts to get hard in it, apparently it really hurts. So, you know I love that. I also had a little sadistic fun with some rubber bands on this sub. Then he settled in to massage my feet. Now, despite my instructions to massage only, this sub couldn't refrain from sniffing my feet as well. His nipples were clamped with ropes tied to the clamps, so I used both my hands and my feet on occasion to torture him by pulling on the rope. Ultimately, after plenty of torture and worship, I allowed this sub to touch my feet with his lips. He sucked on my toes and stuck his tongue between them, all while his nipples were clamped in pain. I've never seen such a feral foot slut before. This guy was writhing and blabbering on and on in ecstasy over my feet. While this wasn't the most obvious fetish turn on for me, this session ended up being so fucking hot. To have a sub I vibe with energetically is so hot. To have a sub so unbelievably turned on by just a part of my body, not just turned on, but in actual ecstasy over, that's extremely sexy. And to have him be this demeaned and pathetic submissive man groveling and worshiping at my feet on the floor, enjoying every second of the humiliation that entailed, that's fucking hot. And I won't even get started on how I felt to see him yelling, "Mercy, mercy, please," as my toes wound around and pulled the cord attached to his nipples. You all probably know by now how I feel about men suffering in pain for me. I love it. The session ended with a brief cuddle and the sub loving it so much that he joked that he would see me tomorrow. It's amazing and awesome to me how something that's not innately hot or sexy to me can become a major fucking turn on if my partner is into it and excited about it and we're vibing. I think that that's the key to the best sessions. Letting your excitement be evident so that you can feed off each other's energy. I'm looking forward to future sessions with my little foot stink slave. I'd love to hear your ideas for foot fetish sessions because, like I said, this is kind of new to me. And I might just use one of your ideas and then share about it on the podcast. Email me with your ideas or any other comments at thewildcreatrix@gmail.com. Or you can also find links to that on my website, www.KatNash.com. My email is on there along with all my other offerings. And thank you for joining me in the Foot Locker this week of Into the Dungeon. I hope you'll meet me back here next week. And until then, stay kinky, my pets.